Dr. Joe Show. You know, I've been doing this a while now, and I get a ton of email. One of the most frequent questions I get is, Joe, where can I get my cigars? Joe, which vendor do I trust? The answer I give is always the same. Finest Cuban Cigars. Finest Cuban Cigars, in my opinion, does it right. From shipping to service, from pricing to packing, on every point that I look at, when I choose a vendor for myself, it's quality every time. There are a lot of Cuban cigar vendors on the internet today. How do you choose one? Just because they have real Cuban cigars? No. You choose them because they treat your cigars like you would treat your cigars. Finest Cuban Cigars does it right. They have fantastic service, fast shipping, great prices, and even better cigars. I get my cigars from them. What else do you need to know? So, I pushed our cigars, sadly, over to the side for now. I can't wait to smoke one of these babies. Unbelievable. I'll leave them in the corner just for you if you want to keep staring at them. And, yeah, this thing, and by the way, I really trust Finest Cuban Cigars. I really do. This thing has been sitting in my house now for about 2 weeks unpacked. Only reason being, I wanted to wait to do it in front of the camera, you know, to show exactly how it came. So, let's see. I don't know if there's even any kind of strap at the top of this box or anything. I want to be careful not to cut anything off. But, let's just peek inside. See, right away, all bubble wrap. All bubble wrap. That's just great. Let's just go straight down here as I always do. Wow, that is bubble wrapped fucking professionally. Look at that. Clean folds, huh? I think it's double bubble too. Let's get rid of that. Ah, this is just the way to end a long week at work. It is Friday night actually. And I've been every day at work, I'd be like, you know, I'm gonna go home today, I'm gonna open up my jar. And I would get home and, you know, I'd just be so exhausted that I want to be awake. I want to be able to enjoy it, you know, and pay attention to it. People think I'm nuts like that. Like, you know, for me, sometimes the anticipation is better to hold on to than just throw it all away, especially when you're not even coherent enough to pay attention to what the hell's going on. So I've determined that it's another box, but it is not the actual box for the jar. See, a lot of companies, and I'm not fucking kidding with you people, everybody, I'm not getting angry at anybody in particular. You know, I have a lot of these situations, trust me, a lot more than you see in the comments section, so I'm not pointing anybody out, because I get emails every day. But, you know, when I recommend a site and I give you a handful of sites and those just aren't good enough and you go running off to other people and you have problems, I'm telling you, I gave you a list of the known bad sites. I gave you a list of the sites I used. And there are more sites that I've used that I'm not going to recommend to you because they don't meet all of the criteria on my list. I will talk about this when we do the jar, when we do the cigar. All right, let's leave it at that. You know, I rate sites just like I rate cigars for myself. And it's based on a lot of different criteria. Having real cigars is only the first part. That's known. It's like, you know, okay, we know all these cigar shops in America have real cigars. You know, we don't question that their cigars are real. So now that that's out of the way, what makes us choose one shop over another or one site over another? That's the way you got to look at Cuban cigar sites. Don't be like, oh, they have real cigars. These are the guys. No, they may not be. They have real cigars and they may be bums still. All right. The bubble is off. Geez, I wonder if it's upside down. Well, probably is. I don't know. We'll be careful. Okay. All right. So I don't know which way is up. I'm going to assume that because these words are this way, that's a signifier. We'll just carefully, I don't want to put a scratch in the top of the box. Ow! Great, cut my thumb off instead. That's good. I'd rather cut my thumb than break my jar. Not off, but, but almost. Dangling. Mutilated. Oh boy. Wow! Wow! And that's the box too. Look how these guys pack this fucking thing. Yo, they are awesome. They're really awesome. First of all, most sites, I gotta tell you, that bubble wrap right there would have been around, this bubble wrap would have been around the jar, the box for the jar. That's it. And then the paper around that. They put paper and then bubble wrap around a box. And then in the box, instead of just putting more, they put styrofoam corners. Wow, man. These guys really do good business. Look at that. And these aren't just like pieces of, they're like actual styrofoam corners. I gotta tell you, in all my years of ordering, over a dozen jars in my collection, I have never received a jar packed this well, ever. I've never received a jar with styrofoam corner, keeping it like, look at that. Wow, man. That is something. I hate styrofoam, but I'm so happy. Okay, let's get her out of there. And then, like, I don't even know why they did this. Maybe just to protect the box from getting scuffed or whatever. But look, they even put the box in another bag. You know? I guess that's like to protect from customs peeping, like they open the bed, then they get the box. And listen, I don't think it matters. I think if they decide to investigate a package, they're going to go all the way no matter what. They just, sometimes they do random, pick them off the conveyor belt and start looking. You know, I don't know. I don't think they say, this one's packed too well, let's not bother. You know? Anyway, whether they do or not, and they're smart. I was right. The words on this facing up, that was up. This is the top of the box. So, they're not idiots either. A lot of, I can't even begin to tell you some of the experiences I've had with some of these sites out there, man. You know, I'm not joking. Use the sites I tell you to use, and you'll be okay. Of course, there are things that can happen. You gotta remember, it's not particularly, you know, there are things that can happen that are out of the site's control. But I guarantee you, use the sites I tell you to use, and anything that's within the site's control, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. And all the sites I tell you to use have guarantees. There are sites out there that don't even guarantee. They say flat out on the website. And people get so excited about ordering, they don't ask, they don't look, they don't think. They'll say, we are not responsible for confiscated packages, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to use a site like that when there are sites out there that say they'll ship me another box if it gets confiscated. Why the fuck would you use a site that says they don't if there's sites out there that say they do? You must be crazy. Oh my goodness. The smell of the cigars is, no, it's hitting me in the face over here. Wow. This is a beaut, man. What a beaut. Well, we're getting there. San Cristobal de la Habana. Wow. Let's see what we got inside. Oh, now that's cool. Here's something that they have not done before with boxes. Look at that. September 2013. AME. That is really cool. I always wished that they would put the fucking box date on the boxes. Very interesting. That is cool to know. See, you learn something new no matter what. Oh God, I'm always so nervous at this point. I'm like, oh please, please, please God, nothing broken. Wow. Now, right now, you are looking at the ashtray, which is the top of the jar. Very cool. Alright, so how are we going to get this sucker out of here? Well, here's a good way. Let's remove these. I don't want to break them. I want to keep all my packaging here. Oh, that's interesting. Don't worry, you'll see in a second. Yeah, this is interesting. Can't wait to get downstairs and start smoking and talking about this thing. Oh. Alright, this is a very unique jar. Interesting. It actually comes with instructions. So, look at that. There's a rubber ring around the ashtray. Alright, something else. Okay, so it's telling us basically throw that crap out. Alright, so we're going to carefully remove. See, things like this might have caused the delay. They were like, well, how are we going to ship this thing in 3 pieces without it, you know, breaking? Alright, so let's take this thing off. Oh. Alright, we got our little, as usual. This time it's magnetic though, that's nice. And look at that. Magnetic. Interesting. Alright, so we're going to take this off. And then we're going to pull it apart. This makes me nervous, man. Oh. Wow, look at that thing. Now, this is going to be interesting. For once, because of the way they had this put together, it's not fucked up from fingerprints. Every time I got a jar with a knob, there was always, you know, fingerprint problems. This one is pristine. Pristine. That is nice for a change. Alright, now here's what I'm going to say. This is the top, okay? That's our top, and this is our ashtray, which can be used as an ashtray, of course, or it can just sit on the top. Or you can put it on the top and use it as an ashtray. Personally, I wouldn't throw this out. Just being me, I'm not throwing anything out. I'm saving this. I'm saving everything that came with it. However, even if you're not a crazy collector, I wouldn't throw this out. If you don't plan to use the ashtray, you might as well just shove the thing back on there, and that way it keeps it secure from falling off. You know, if I take this thing out, no, see, that's not cool. If I do that, the ashtray just sits on top, and it can easily, you can see that in the camera there, nothing really holds it. It just sits on top. Look, it doesn't latch on or anything. It can just fall right off. And you can scratch the top with this rough perimeter. This will eat glass alive. You got to be careful. It does have some pads. I don't see, you know, that's good for the jar, not for your table. This will fuck your table up. They have to fix that problem. They've been doing that. They did the same thing with this Pacific jar ashtray. Nice ashtray. And let's look at what else we got here. Piece of cork. Now this is nice. Instead of that flimsy cedar they always send that just breaks right off, they got a nice, oh look, they gave me my paper, good. They got a nice piece of cork. Oh my God, does that smell good. Jesus. So that'll sit on top of the cigars, and then you have this. And again, that's pretty cool. They're Americanizing this shit so much, man. They are really Americanizing this shit. You know? I like this and I don't like it. I like it because it can't break like the cedar does. I don't like it because it's synthetic. You know? This is so un-Cuban right here. But whatever, it's unique and it makes the jar unique. Interesting. I don't know if the cork is supposed to sit on top of that or if it goes like this. But that's interesting, cork. That can hold some extra humidity too. Alright, this is a very unique jar. They got the whole wraparound insert in there. And again, yeah, these, you know, Finest Cuban cigars are great. They're so careful. Every jar I've ever gotten that has this, it has been broken into like at least 2, sometimes 3 fucking pieces. It's all in one piece. The whole wall. That's very nice. Ah, there she is. Look at that. Alright, I tell you what. I am going to clean everything up. The cigars have sat out long enough. I don't like to breathe them too long. I'm going to pack everything together and show the jar as a whole. And then we are finally going to go smoke. And there's our jar. Very, very nice. Elegant. I love the pictorial. Very different from anything else that's come out so far. Most of the jars thus far have all been different as far as shapes are concerned. This one doesn't look very different yet, but you'll see once it's all put together, it's very unique. Let's put the cigars in it and put it together and see how everything looks like that. I think you'll really like the way it looks once it's all closed, and we'll bring it downstairs so we have it to look at while we talk about it. And of course, as we rate our San Cristobal Torreon cigar. But I'm very happy. I'm very happy. It's very elegant, yet very modern. It's really cool. And I don't know where exactly I would put this yet. It's a big jar, let me tell you. It's a big, you're looking at 25, 54 ring gauge cigars. This is one of the biggest jars out there right now. Are there jars bigger than it? The Juan Lopez jar might beat it by a bit. It's very bulbous, and it's about the same height. And the Bolivar China jar. Those Salomon Perfecto shapes really take up a lot of room. Okay, let's put the cigars in and get some snapshots. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And there it is, the complete jar, San Cristobal Torreon. I gotta tell you, I love it. I freaking love it. When I first found out that this jar was coming out back in 2012, I was really, really excited because I've always loved the artwork on the insert of the San Cristobal boxes. And I was really afraid that they were gonna screw it up, because it's a niche brand. It's, you know, it's not like Cohiba or Partagas or one of these really famous brands. And I thought that they may do a poor job, maybe do some little jar with just, you know, the wording on it or something. They did an outstanding job. Completely assembled, it really represents, you know, a turret or a tower from a castle or fort. And that is not unintentional, I assure you, and we will talk more about that when we discuss San Cristobal. The jar is shaped this way specifically on purpose. So, great looking jar. Absolutely great looking jar. Zoom in a little and take a look. And really cool. I'm going to take some pictures and we'll put those up. And we're going to go downstairs and smoke. I'm having a hard time deciding whether to display it like this or without the ashtray on top. I think I'm going to do it like this because it really makes it very unique, different from all the other jars we have. Let's just take a quick look. The ashtray comes off very easily, all right? It has some rubber stoppers on the bottom to protect the finish. But if you just tilt this one way or another, it'll fall right off. There's nothing holding it on. And that's why I really recommend keeping this piece. They tell you throw it right out, and in all the excitement, you might. You can use this piece, pop it right back on, stick the ashtray on, And that way, when it's on display, God forbid somebody moves it or anybody touches it, I would kill them just for doing that. But if somebody did, disaster will be averted, hopefully. There you go. My first jar that has a gold knob at the top without anything wrong with it. The Pacific one was pretty good too. It's my Bolivar one that was screwed. Has a very nice seal. Very nice seal. Perfect room for a Boveda bag. I stick a 69 in there. And folks, I realized after I put the cigars in, this cork, I know it. I didn't ask anybody, you know, I guess I could be wrong. I've been wrong about several things. Recently I said something else. I'll correct myself later on something else I said that's not quite accurate. This, I believe, belongs at the bottom. They're doing more to protect the cigars, obviously, with all these rubber stoppers and rubber bands around it and the way they pack the thing with the corner dividers. Amazing packing job. This goes at the bottom. It will also hold the cigars up a little. Instead of the cedar sheet, we have this thing, which, you know what, when you put it on top of the cigars, it's, look, I like the old-fashioned way. I would rather a piece of cedar. But I do kind of like the way that it's translucent, so when you put it on top, you can see your cigars through it. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Either way, I mean, I'm just making comments and saying what I think about this or that. It's awesome. Let's just remove that and take a look. Right now I have 23 of these babies in there. I am smoking one for review in front of the camera, and before I do, actually, I'm going to smoke one on my own. It's a beautiful day out, and I'm just going to go enjoy one before I do the one for review. Really nice. Or maybe I'll do the one for review first before I know anything. Who knows? But the cigars are great. There is some wording on the back, and we'll read that downstairs as well. We'll do all that stuff as we review the cigars. This jar came with everything. You know, some jars don't have a cedar wall, some jars don't have a piece on top, some jars don't have this or that. This has everything. Came with everything. Humidification unit, cork, cover, ashtray, everything. I also like, I mean, this jar was done so well in such great detail, right down to the crappy humidification unit that you all know I never use and I hate. At least they did a magnet, which is nice. It just adds a touch of class instead of using a crappy piece of Velcro, man. These jars that use Velcro, it's so annoying. And that's it. The finish is well protected by the rubber stops, but I really would not want to leave it like that on display. The jar is kind of appearing at times on this camera more yellow than it actually is. In the pictures, I'll try to get the proper color as much as I can. It's really a light tan. Alright, that about wraps it up. San Cristobal Torreon jar. And now, we're going to get to the best part. The cigar itself. Say goodnight, Max.